Hello and welcome to Policy and Politics with me, Tarun Nangia. Today we speak to you on the occasion of Uzbekistan's 30th independence anniversary since it came into being. And of course, as we speak, there are celebrations on in the Central Asian nation. India has had strong relations with that country. President Shavkat Mirziyoyev, the president of Uzbekistan, recently also, in a sense, held a summit in Tashkent, where a lot of things regarding these countries were discussed. But what all does it entail for India, as in India's interests in Central Asia, and how India and Uzbekistan are poised to grow together in terms of trade and geopolitical relations? And what is the role of the Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran region in that? Or what are the hurdles that we'll face because of the particular situation that has emerged in Afghanistan? To discuss all of this, I have with me Ambassador Skand Rajan Tayal. Sir, welcome to Policy and Politics.
Thank you.
Could you, at the outset, explain to us the importance of Uzbekistan to India's geopolitical and trade interests?
First, let us appreciate Uzbekistan's central position in the Central Asian region. There are 5 Central Asian republics. Uzbekistan's population is about 35 million, which is about half of the total population of Central Asian republics. And the ancient towns of Samarkand, Bukhara, Khiva on the Silk Route, they are all in Uzbekistan. The cradle of Central Asian civilization was Fargana Valley, and most of it is in Uzbekistan. And of course, it has had a turbulent history, and then first the Khans, then communists, and eventually in the aftermath of the breakup of the Soviet Union, Uzbekistan and the other 14 countries became independent republics in 1991. Now, if we see 3 decades down the line, Uzbekistan has made a lot of progress. One, it has consolidated its sovereignty. After all, it had emerged as it is an ancient civilization, but as a nation, it was rather new. And it has established a position for itself and for Central Asian republics as a very respected and dependable country. Why do I say that? 5 Central Asian republics are Islamic majority, but they are very strongly secular constitutional republics with full freedom of religion and in some democracy. Now, Uzbekistan has faced the problem of terrorism. Islamic movement of Uzbekistan is well known, which emerged in the 90s immediately after Uzbekistan became independent. And we all remember in 2005 in Andijan, there was a big revolt which was undertaken by these Islamic elements. But then President Islam Karimov was very strong, very firm, and he totally crushed that tendency. So Central Asian republics, and particularly Uzbekistan, are a beacon of hope and of secularism and inclusive government in that region. As far as India is concerned, if you go there, I was ambassador there from 2005 to 2008. There is a palpable love for India and the people of India. Indian films are so popular there, and everybody knows the Raj Kapoor songs and Shah Rukh Khan songs and the latest Amitabh Bachchan songs. And if any lady goes in a sari, immediately a lot of people come and want to get themselves photographed. So there is a very strong cultural link, emotional link, and civilizational link which has been very assiduously nurtured by successive governments from 1991 onwards. We were the first country to invite the then President Islam Karimov, even when the Uzbek government was not fully independent, to visit India. And the response has been phenomenal. But trade is still languishing. I think it's about 250 US billion dollars, because we all know the transit route between India and Central Asia, between India and Uzbekistan, passes through Afghanistan and Pakistan. Afghanistan is a very turbulent region. Let us hope it stabilizes now. And Pakistan does not allow bilateral trade of India through its territory to Central Asian region. We hope it will improve. Let us hope for the best. But till then, Government of India, along with partner countries like Iran, is trying to develop the Chabahar port for trade to Central Asia. It is a work in progress, but I'm very hopeful that in the years to come, there will be a great boost in trade between India and Uzbekistan, along with our strategic partnership.
You made a very important point that trade is not, in a sense, how much it should be. It's not even $1 billion, if I'm right, like you said. So it is minuscule. With the current situation in Afghanistan, do you think that there is an impediment to the growth of this trade, or you think Iran's support will be enough to carry it through?
The present leadership of Uzbekistan, President Shavkat Mirziyoyev, who came into power in 2016, is a very far-sighted, very progressive, and very open-minded leader. And he has firmly changed the course of Central Asian region. First, by improving Uzbekistan's relations with all its neighbors, and also playing a big role in stabilization of Afghanistan. In 2018, there was a very big conference in Tashkent on stabilization of Afghanistan. All the countries are very concerned about the future of Afghanistan, because the fighters of Islamic movement of Uzbekistan had sanctuary in Taliban-controlled Afghanistan in the 90s. So their main concern at present is to convince the new Taliban government, which is now being formed, that Taliban should not be, again, they should not follow the same policies as they did in the 1990s, and should not provide any sanctuary or shelter to the fighters and disgruntled elements and etc. of neighboring countries, whether it is Uzbekistan, whether it is China, whether it is Russia. So this is, again, let us see how the Taliban respond. Another very important initiative of Prime Minister Shavkat Mirziyoyev has been to try to open land routes for Uzbekistan. As we know, Uzbekistan is double landlocked. All its neighbors are also landlocked. And on 16th July, Uzbekistan hosted a very big conference to open connectivity between Central Asia and South Asia. And it had a very good response from international donors, from all the major countries were there, who have some stake in connectivity: Russia, China, United States. Our External Affairs Minister, Jaishankar, was there. And he made a very important point that India would be very much interested in all the connectivity projects from Central Asia to South Asia, but they should respect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of India. I think in one sentence, he made it very clear how far we'll be able to go. And so Chabahar and International North-South Transport Corridor will be our preference. And in his opening statement, President Shavkat Mirziyoyev noted the importance of this transport corridor, which India is promoting.
I want to ask you that Uzbekistan has a lot of rare earth minerals or metals that are needed. Do you think that is one area where these two countries could cooperate?
I remember when I met once the former president, Islam Karimov, and we were looking at that time for uranium. And Uzbekistan has a lot of uranium also, and yellow cake they were exporting. And he said that yes, Mr. Mirza, Uzbekistan has the entire periodic table in its territory. All the chemicals of the periodic table are in Uzbekistan. But of course, India had not got exemption for nuclear suppliers group at that time. So, but our interest in Uzbek gas and Uzbek uranium, Uzbek copper is there. Rare earths they produce, but perhaps not in that lithium, etc., which is required for solar batteries and storage batteries. Perhaps they don't have. But the present President Shavkat Mirziyoyev is very keen to open Uzbekistan economically and also put it more firmly on a democratic path. So there will be more opportunities for investment, for trade, and all the minerals would be a very important part of this bilateral engagement.
If I may want to expand this further, as we are looking for minerals, our neighbor China also would in a sense its hunger for minerals is more than us because it's a bigger production power. Do you think China is also actively looking at Uzbekistan in addition to India?
Certainly, we have seen that China is very active in Central Asian region, strategically through Shanghai Cooperation Organization and also in the Belt and Road Initiative. Lots of projects have come to Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, not so many in Uzbekistan because Uzbekistan is very, very conscious of its sovereignty and it would not take any step ever where its independence of action, autonomy of action gets compromised.
So the loan-based projects that China uses by loan diplomacy, Uzbekistan is not, in a sense, agreeing to that kind of arrangement.
Uzbekistan will certainly not agree to that kind of an arrangement. And if it is a fair investment, then of course Uzbekistan should accept it, and because it will help in their own development. So as long as there is a fair competition for investment, whether from India, whether from Japan, whether from South Korea. South Koreans are very active in Uzbekistan. They have major investments. Then it is okay with us. But it should not be predatory investment. And that is what we guard against with all our friends, whether in South Asia or in Central Asia.
On this note, we'll take a short break and be right back. Welcome back. Just before the break, we also discussed whether China is also looking at Uzbekistan as far as and how are the relations. But moving on from that point, I'll ask Ambassador Tahir, sir, in the evolving geopolitical nature of India's neighborhood, we saw this axis of China, Pakistan, now China meeting the Taliban. Do you think India's access to Central Asia and countries like Uzbekistan seems to get tougher in the coming days rather than easier?
I really don't think so, because the national interests of China, of Tajikistan, of Uzbekistan, of Russia, towards Taliban, towards the new Afghanistan, they differ vastly. And in many senses, Russia is looking after the security interests of both Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. And I recall that the press notes after President Vladimir Putin's telephone conversation with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, this was very specifically mentioned that the interests of Central Asia would be considered and should be protected. by the new Taliban administration, which really means, and Russia has again and again been saying, an inclusive government in Kabul, and that means participation of Tajik Afghans, participation of Uzbek Afghans, uppermost, of course, Hazara Afghans should also be there. But in the Russian scheme of things, they will insist on an inclusive government. Otherwise, Taliban will not have an easy time in controlling the Panjshir Valley. At this time, all the balls are in the air. Everybody is keeping the options open. The preferences have been narrated, and it is for the new Taliban government to spell out its policy. Of course, they are saying the right things, but in practice, if they exclude Tajiks and Uzbeks, then Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and Russia will not be able to get along with the Taliban, and this is where we have a common cause with Russia and with Central Asian republics.
So, talking of India's interests in Uzbekistan, do you think it is a priority area for India, or it is in the second or the third order of things, in the order of, in a sense, the conscious in India? Because see, the accessibility is a problem, and that itself puts a lot of things into question.
The Central Asia, given its long historical relationship, cultural relationship, civilizational relationship with India, is a very natural partner of India in the future peace and development of entire region. Now we have this connectivity issue because of the obstinacy of Pakistan. But Prime Minister Modi has talked about digital connectivity. And we can have different ways, of course, physical connectivity through Iran, through Chabahar, through Turkmenistan, and digital connectivity where our IT companies can work with the Uzbek IT companies and really service the Russian market.
If I may ask you, which countries have the largest investment in Uzbekistan? Any countries which have heavily invested in that country?
Besides Russia, Korean investment is very large in chemicals and in logistics and in automobile factory also. There was initially Daewoo, which was taken over by General Motors. And so Koreans are very comfortable. Our investment was in the textile area, and Indorama is there. Automobile components also, Minda Group is there. So we have investments, but they should be much more. And as Uzbekistan is opening, and President Shavkat Mirziyoyev says that it is a new Uzbekistan. I was there in July for this connectivity conference, and I could see that it is a new Uzbekistan. You will be surprised to know there are more than 30 TV channels, and most of them are private TV channels.
30.
They are not censored. They can put out anything what they want live. And at times, even the government senior officials are invited on some of the channels to answer the questions of the public on air. So it is, and President Shavkat Mirziyoyev says that this is a democratic transformation which he is trying to bring about in his country with full democracy, human rights, and freedom. That there is no currency black market. Currency is now absolutely free. So President and his team are really trying to put Uzbekistan as a center for economic development, for social development, for human development. And I'm very confident that they are on the right path and they will make very fast progress.
One last comment from you today. If you see India's and Uzbekistan trade, do you see it going up exponentially in the 3-4 years, or there will be a very gradual increase given the, of course, we have a Chabahar route. Do you see this trade going up exponentially?
Exponentially would be difficult unless we buy uranium from them. Then, because it's a high value item.
Yes.
Or if they sell gold to us, but their gold they sell through Zurich.
Yes.
So it does not get reflected in the Indo-Uzbek trade. Otherwise, physical goods, for that to rise exponentially would be difficult.
So basically, as we can see, digital relations, like Prime Minister Modi said, which you shared on the show, that IT and these kind of things, we can see that there is a lot of scope for Indian companies to do. Okay, on this good note, we will end our today's show. We got a good insight on India, Uzbekistan on the 30th Independence Day of Uzbekistan. I would like to thank Ambassador Kantar for sharing these insights into that country and India's trade with them. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Thank you. Thank you so much.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.